did it again, Dan. We did it again.
We did it.
Now, the one thing I do have to go, I have to go to the dashboard here.
It's a good place.
So that I can see comments. Yes. Because
are we live on the interwebs of doom?
Yeah, we're on the internet. We're on the interweb. And we don't know. I know that I don't know what's going to happen tonight, Dan. I don't know. You've not been in here in some time.
Yeah.
But you did do a show via
phone in.
Satellite. Yeah, I like to say via satellite. I'm old school, eh? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
But
once again, I would like to thank CHCH in Hamilton for allowing me to drop by and use their satellite.
Yeah. I like to use space whenever I can, Dan, for this program. So the funny part about it was when you sent that message in, we played it on the air.
Yeah.
There was my neighbor had popped in. Did I tell you this already?
No.
My neighbor had popped in, and he wasn't aware of what we were doing. Like that there was that. So he sees the video of you.
Yeah.
And he comes in right when you're just starting to trash Joe, right? And then he doesn't know it's about Joe. He thinks it's about me.
Right.
And then you said something about his wife, and my neighbor. You can see how agitated he's getting. He's getting agitated
on your behalf.
Yeah, on my behalf. And he finally whispers to me. He says, "Are we gonna have to do something, Pete?" Like he would honestly would have kicked your ass for me because he thought you were.
That's
like,
awesome. How long you guys been neighbors?
Oh, and when you trashed Joe's wife and he thought you were talking about my wife, he goes, "That's my optometrist." Which I thought was great too. Anyways, that was really funny. We had to talk him down at the end of it, like slow down. Anyways, it was pretty. That's
pretty awesome. If that's a true test of manhood, if you had to step up for your optometrist, would you do it? Would you do it?
Well, I would because I feel the same way that my neighbor does.
Yeah.
Like because it's my wife, but like. Before my wife was my optometrist, I only went once to an old man, and I was really creeped out by him the whole experience,
right.
Because you're a young dude and you go into a room and then an old man comes in and shuts all the lights out and then gets like within a quarter inch of your face.
Yeah,
he's like you can smell his coffee breath and stuff.
Well, yeah, and that machine is intimidating. Once that thing gets lowered onto your eyes.
Yeah. But I didn't mind the machine as much as the old man's cock being so close to me. You know what I mean? The machine.
On balance, I can see what you're saying, yes.
Because I was thinking, like, the machine probably serves a purpose, and it's beyond my understanding, but I trust that these guys know what they're doing. But this old man's cock, this old man's cock, I don't know anything about. I don't think it's been vetted by a college.
That's so funny because optometrists keep saying, and now?
Oh, yeah.
See him inching his crotch closer to you.
I don't like it. 1 and 2. I'm like, you stay away from both of them, buddy. I'm not. I don't want you near any of them. Then I started going a lot when my wife was in school because she needed someone to practice on.
Right.
And then she had this habit where she would straddle you while she was like looking at your eye. She's so interested in what was going on at the back of your eye that she just like she'd want to get as close as she could, and she'd end up like actually like she's crawled up on your lap, she's on the chair with you, like. And this is my wife, so I'm like enjoying it, thinking she's just doing it for me,
Right.
And then I'm like, I think I make a joke when she does it, and I'm like something like, "Oh, you're going to make a lot of money doing it this way," And she goes, "Oh, darn it, am I doing that again?" And I'm like, "Jesus Christ, what do you mean again? You do this all the time?" She's like, "Yeah, it's a bad habit." Like she says, "I do it without thinking. I've been doing it to my classmates and everything." Like, so no wonder you're so. All the guys really liked her in class.
She's putting it about a bit.
Yeah,
accidentally though. That's such.
She stopped doing it though.
That is such a Delhi story to accidentally do something like that.
Accidentally do something.
That's good. There's a couple ways that story could have went, Pete.
Tell me which ways they could have gone.
Well, have you developed a kink because of this or anything like that? Does foreplay consist of a thorough eye inspection?
Well, it does confuse my first experience with that old man. That's for sure. Because like I only had the one exam, right?
You, isn't it?
I got a bad feeling, even though it's probably unjustified. I'm thinking, it's probably unjustified. Then I go to an optometrist a second time. She's kind of trying to fuck me. And then she actually does fuck me, like I have fucked 100%.
Life with her. Wow.
Yeah, I fucked 100% of my optometrist since that old man. And so I was like,
that's a record I think you can be proud of.
Yeah, and I was like, but with that logic, I think I got away with one. I was that close to getting molested by that old man. Is what I think.
Basically, you've got a 50% hit rate, though. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, I have actually, it's more impressive, really, that say I've fucked 50% of the optometrists I've seen.
I know. I realize that they hold these optometry conferences in places like Vegas and fun places, but I think you should stay away.
Why?
Well, if your hit rate's 50% and there's 1,000 optometrists.
Oh, yeah. But they have to see me for an exam before I'll fuck them. That's the only way. That's the only way this stat works.
Perfect.
I don't just bang optometrists I see with my eyes. Like I'm saying, like if they become my doctor, eye doctor,
right?
Then there's a 50% chance I will fuck them. It's not
the profession as a whole, right?
That's right. I know the profession as a whole, yes.
Yeah.
But you have to see me as my professional. Like you have to become my professional for you to have a 50% chance of fucking me.
Right.
That's what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
You get it?
I get it.
I don't want optometrists out there to just listen to this show and think, oh, Pete's going to see me at the grocery store and there's a 50% chance I'm going to fuck him. That's not how it works, I've seen optometrists around town. I've been around.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
That's why I've been to Vegas. I never fucked any of them.
But let's say you're at a party, okay?
Yeah.
And something gets in your eye.
Now we're talking.
Okay, so there's 4 optometrists at this party for whatever reason.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
One of them's in your wife's. There's quarter. That's 25% right there. Right.
Yeah.
The other 3, they want to check out what's going on with the eye. They're now inspecting your eye. What do you think your chances with them are?
Like a second. Is this a second opinion? Because my wife would do it. I would just tell the others to stay away.
What if she's in the other room? She's in the other room. She's not even aware there's a situation.
And they're going to start to treat me when my wife's in the same building? I was like, no, thank you. I'll wait. And my wife walks from the other room.
It's a shard of metal. You need immediate attention.
Immediate attention. Now we're.
Let's tell you, that's fidelity for you. That's fidelity right there.
Yeah, fidelity for my doctor too. That's the way I operate. It's the same thing. If I was like choking on a chicken bone in a restaurant, my doctor was at like 3 tables down.
Yeah. And
I wouldn't ask, is anybody able to help me? I would just go over choking to that lady that I saw over there.
Right.
Because I'm committed to her.
I don't know.
If there was she was sitting at a table of doctors, I'd be like, yeah, I know you though. So you do it.
Right.
But I wouldn't be able to say that. I would just go,
I don't know if someone was throwing shade at any of the many healthcare professionals responsible for keeping me alive and here tonight. I don't know I'm trying to do a mental inventory of which ones I would stick up for and which ones I wouldn't. I have a massage therapist. I think that.
Would you stick up for your massage therapist?
I definitely would. Yeah. That's an important member of my healthcare team.
I saw the way you picked up a guitar pick off the ground. And
there's a problem with the knee. Yeah, but this is where we do the inventory, right? And I get to sound like I'm I'm broken. But no, I've got orthotics on the way.
Yeah. But what is she working on? This massage therapist, your back?
Just my lower back, but also between my shoulder blades. Right, like I think she's part sadist.
Oh yeah, but
she's like, it's really knotted in here, and she gets right in there, and I love it.
It's great, right?
Yeah, especially afterwards. I made the mistake last time of going to the gym afterwards, which you're not supposed to do.
No. Why?
No, because I think the
tenses them right back up again.
You need to give it some rest because it is not quite bruising, but stretching. I don't know. For $100 an hour,
You said you lit up when you mentioned her, though. I noticed it in your eyes. You got it.
Yeah, I've only been twice, but I really think it makes a difference. I think I would just go and get stretched, like maybe go down to the local wrestling and get one of the old-timey wrestlers to just stretch me on the mat. You know what I mean? Like twist me and pretzel me, and I think that would be the way to go.
You think that's right? They got a man in his underpants
I would have put him in sweatpants myself, maybe even a shirt, t-shirt, thick.
Yeah, nice shirt, eh? Why don't they just wear a shirt? That's what I think too. I'm like, why you got to be in your underpants to fight, man? I want to wear all my clothes. Yeah. If I was if I was any sort of
admittedly, I realize a tie might be a detriment, but clothes would be helpful, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but if you're training for a fight, you'd be like in great shape, right? Then you'd want to show it off, probably, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
You think if you
let's say you're defending your optometrist, you definitely want to rock up.
Yeah.
And let your physical presence do most of the fighting for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think we should get the show started, Dan? I'm so curious when I talk to you. I'm like a kitten. Eh? And then
coquettish kitten.
But I forget that we actually have a show to run here.
Has it not been live?
No, it's live, but every week when we start our show, we do this thing on our show that we call the theme song, Dan.
Right.
Here in Pine Grove. What a hot crowd here in Pine Grove. And it's an actual Thursday night, even though if you're listening to this podcast, you're in the future because it's not coming out till next Thursday. Right now, you're enjoying last week's shenanigans with Beaver and Kevin and Whiskey West. Boy, was that ever a fun show. Well, Dan, if you want to listen to Dutch Hall that you're not on, listen to last night's show. It started out hot, and it was really, really a good show.
Fire after that, was it?
Oh my God! Beaver admitted before we even played the theme song that he in his lifetime has never ever pulled out of a girl.
What?
He's blown all his loads inside of women.
Wow.
And I go, and then I'm like, what does that like because of the condom? Yeah. Like if you're wearing a condom and you blow it in the condom in the girl like that, still counts as not pulling out, right?
Right, yeah.
And he's like, kind of.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
He's a loaded gun.
Dirty. Well, now he's a family man, right?
Oh, right.
So
okay.
He got away with it. He dodged. He got away with it.
Well, that just makes everybody else's.
No pregnancies, no diseases, no nothing. Just got away with it, eh?
Wow.
Lucky bastard, eh?
How many kids does he have now?
1. Yeah.
Interesting.
No, it's not interesting. Actually, it's a blessing from God. It's a nice
all babies are.
Yeah, it's hard for people to have kids nowadays. It really is.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as it was. It's like it depends.
Do you think that's environmental factors?
I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't want to talk about I don't want to talk about it. It's like I don't even want to talk about it.
It's very sciencey for what we'd be able to pull off. I feel like I need to do research before talking about that issue.
Yes, and I haven't even introduced anything. So I'd like to introduce our guest for this week's show. But first, I got to introduce the guy that helps to co-host this show with me, the only guy that showed up for this show with our guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Robot Dave.
Hey, Jay, can you give me a beer? Great dynamite gal.
Hey, what are you talking to my wife for? I'm the one who introduced you, so you should be talking to me. Come on, what are you? I don't even know.
It's like a school bus boner.
What are you talking about? Just say...
Thanks a lot, Pete.
There you go. Anyways, Robot Dave, everyone. Robot Dave is, when Kevin's not around, Robot Dave is limited. I can't even work his mouth. His mouth's finally working. It didn't work before.
Look at it.
But it doesn't go. He's got to say something.
I need to like get into it.
Yeah.
Honestly, what I do is I sit down in the barber chair, put some lubricant in there, pay the guy $26. It's like a school bus boner. In your nutsack, man.
There you go. That's the Robot Dick segment for this week. Yeah. And our guest this week, he's a Hamilton comedian. He's a multiple-time guest of the show. He's currently...
Friend of the show?
Yeah. A friend of the show. Friend of the show for sure. And he's currently embridled in the Dutch Hall feud, which we should probably touch on it before the show is over.
Absolutely.
Also because the other principal in the... he's definitely not going to be watching this by this point in time because we haven't talked about him yet. But he said he might. He said he might be watching on Facebook and live chat, and if he had to call in, but we might not need him, and he should be sleeping. He's on like no sleep, and
as usual,
and he needs to go to bed. So
explains his decisions.
But I will. Oh, but our guest tonight, Hamilton comedian, longtime friend of the show, ladies and gentlemen, Disco Dan Brennan.
Disco.
Yeah. I figured you've been on the show enough. You've been on the show enough.
Oh my goodness.
You've been on the show enough. We should get you a nickname. So Disco Dan today.
Disco Dan today.
Yeah. It might not. That might not
that
stick.
Catches on, eh? I can only hope.
Did you ever have a nickname?
Yeah, the bread box.
Oh, the bread box, Dan Brennan?
Yeah. And then when I was over in England, they don't have bread boxes. So this conversation came up one time, It's not like I was running around talking about myself in the third person by my nickname. But, because they have bread bins. So my buddy Joff calls me bread bin.
They call it bread bin instead of bread box.
Yeah.
I'll have to shut this furnace off.
Okay. Shall I hum a tune while that happens? Hard on the audio. Yeah, the old furnace.
The furnace will get me 2 shows in a row, but it's all done. It's all done.
It's winter.
It's all done. The audience will have to forgive me, and they did. They already did. So yeah, thanks, Dave. I would. What was I saying before the furnace, bud?
I have no idea.
We said. Well, anyways, I have to introduce myself, but when I do it, can you say two-time when I say two-time?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm the host of the show, and two-time President's Club Award winner, Pete Van Dyk. Wait, there we go. I like that one, too. They don't give me that enough,
Yeah.
Hey, so we have a big show for you tonight. I'm sorry, I'm a little tired. I've been running on a little bit on a bit of on nothing lately. Because I did that gig in Niagara Falls, and so it was late getting home.
We're getting back into it, aren't we? You got to build up that callus again.
Yeah, I got to build it up because
Great show though, worth the drive to Niagara Falls.
It's fun. It was so fun, and actually, a listener of the show came out to watch me.
Nice.
But he missed me. He was there too late because it had on the site 9:00 and the show started at 8, and he showed up at 9. I'd already gone up.
That 9 p.m. was the pre-pandemic time.
Yeah.
Back when you could be open till 2 in the morning and nobody cared what time of night you yelled into a microphone. So,
yeah, but that is a good show. It was
really good
fun.
show. And like Tuesday nights, like their apps, I hate doing a plug for it, but they got really good apps there and they're half price on the Tuesday. So they get a really good crowd, right? And the stage setup is really cool. Yeah. There's a huge like blue or black velvet curtain and it's got like a drummer's cymbals, the big gold cymbals, most of them cracked, lining that.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. And back before the restrictions and you could get it full. We've had some rocking nights there. Some really rocking nights.
Yeah, I like it. Niagara's actually got a lot of good rooms. They're fun rooms, and like the Camp Cataract there in Niagara Falls is a really more of an intimate room.
Yeah,
and so the shows there, I've always had a lot of fun there because it's the crowds are like you're close to them, and the ceiling's low and stuff, and it's like it seems like it's conducive to it's conducive comedy.
Conducive to comedy. Yeah. Did you ever do Grand Central when that was a thing on the Mondays?
No.
Okay, so that was Adam Grant's show. What a lovely guy that guy is. But you used to get all the bar staff from Niagara Falls who've been dealing with tourists all weekend coming out on a Monday.
Because they're all closed Monday.
That's right. And they all, they were easy to make laugh. They were looking for a laugh, right? So,
yeah.
It was always a really fun show to do, and he would give you 10 minutes. So when we were starting out, 10 minutes was always golden, right?
You remember before the last lockdown, there was that amateur night where there was all those nurses from St. Peter's Hospital.
Yeah.
Were you there? Were working that night?
Yeah,
the hospice.
Yes.
And that's the same sort of thing, man. Like they were there to blow off steam, you know?
Absolutely.
And
they got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you couldn't do anything to offend them. You couldn't do anything to to shock them. You know, like these guys face the most horrible things on a daily basis. They're the best crowd.
Yeah.
The best crowd.
They were special. They didn't get too rowdy, but they were into everything. Some of the amateur nights there, last night's was amazing. There had to be an audience of 50 people all into the show. I feel like I saw new people that I've never seen before. They all delivered. And, of course, you know, everyone who's getting their chops back, who's been at it for years, super delivered as well. And it's just, It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
I love levity where it is now. I really do. I like the regulars.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the regulars there, they actually know comedy. They get it. They get what you're doing. They get that even when the joke misses, they kind of laugh like a comic would laugh, at the miss, you know. And then they'll also, if they hear you tell the same joke multiple times, they don't hold it against you, you know, because they understand the craft of it because they're there all the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I like that. The regulars are almost, I think some of them, I think that Chuck guy,
Chuck Leo. Oh, maybe
I think he should be like a critic or something, like a comedy critic or something.
Yeah? Why? Is he always giving you advice and stuff? Or?
No, I just think because he's there all the time and he's very knowledgeable. And I think I would like to hear because he's normally when you see a guy like that who knows that much about stuff like that and cares that much about comedy, they usually want to be a comedian themselves, right?
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time for they're going to be on an open mic, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think it is with him, do you?
No, not at all. He said to me a million times, he goes, I couldn't do what you guys do. I said to him once, I said, what did you do, Chuck? He goes, health and safety. I'm like, yeah, I couldn't do that, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hey, what about these barrels that aren't stacked very well? Yeah, that looks fine, man.
Yeah. Yeah, my therapist, actually, you know what my therapist said to me? He said...
stack the barrels?
He says, you're not normal and you're not supposed to be.
Right.
You're not going to fit in. You're not supposed to fit in.
Right.
Your whole the way you are is you're supposed to not fit in because then you can comment on it. You know what I mean?
You mean as a comedian, or that's the type of person you are?
That's the type of person I am. Comedian lets me be. Comedian lets me do it. You know.
Right.
But either way.
You got that in you.
I am not a conformist. I don't conform easily, and I don't like institutions and stuff like that. You know, my conflict in life comes from me fighting conformity most of the time.
I like it.
Right,
I like it,
and so when he said I'm not. I don't fit in and I'm not supposed to. To me, that made perfect sense to me because then I was like, oh, thank God. Thank you for saying that because then I let myself off the hook.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I kept trying to be normal.
Right.
And it was just so damn hard, you know? Right? Do you feel that way? Because you're kind of normal?
I don't know. Here's the thing about me. I'm a very social person. I think most people would consider me quite gregarious. Pete, you know that word?
I do know. I've heard it before.
It just means really outgoing and you know.
Oh, really? Nothing to do with Gregory?
Possibly slightly braggadocious. But I feel it because, especially acutely in comedy, because there's just such an age difference, right? With most of the people that you're doing comedy with. But I think in every aspect, I always feel a little bit like the outsider. Yeah.
Really?
I find the older I get, I comment a bit more and possibly a bit too harshly. I want to try and take that out. I think that's something. I think there's a grit there that the pandemic has added, instead of being whimsical about the line taking too long at the McDonald's. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more like, why can't that jackass pull up? If that jackass pulled up 2 feet, you know what I mean? This person could order, and we'd all be at it,
Yeah.
So,
Isn't it funny how some people, like Lewis Black or something, can be angry? People are laughing, If I get angry on stage, people won't laugh. People are scared.
They don't want that. They don't want that from you.
No, I don't deliver angry in a way that's comfortable.
That's interesting. That's maybe a good quality in a human being. And maybe it's something you need to work on as part of a stage persona, because it'd be nice to have that other gear.
I know.
Losing your rag or,
In real life,
yeah.
Even just now when I start saying this, I can hear what other people are going to hear in this. But you give me a subject matter that I feel strongly about.
Yeah.
I'll just talk impassioned about it,
Yeah.
Like I get excited. And so I start talking impassioned, and it's more because I'm Dutch, and Dutch people are like, yeah, well, we're going to do it. They're very harsh, but it's not like, they're not mean. It's just they're just blunt, they're just straightforward,
Yeah.
And, so a lot of people mistake it as angry. But I'm really just excited. I'm happy. I'm I feel good about, I feel charged up about what I'm talking about.
Right.
But everyone hears angry and they get uncomfortable.
Right. They get uncomfortable and they're receptive to your ideas.
They don't like me. They don't like being around me when I'm like that. So then I always I don't know. But I always think on stage that would work, because if I'm able to talk about something funny, but I'm impassioned like that, and it's ridiculous how strongly I feel about this ridiculous thing or whatever, that should be funny, that should work, that's what I think. But I have never been able to pull it off. I don't think I don't come across like that on stage at all.
Interesting. Well, go out and from the moment you're on stage, take you're fire. You're just 100%. You're giving it a hundo, whatever the kids say these days. Because I think that
I don't know. I don't.
Once you establish,
because I want to squash that in my real life, but I want to but if I can squash it in my real life by just giving it a place to live.
Right.
It lives on stage. That's where I use that.
The thing I don't want to say the thing that you're missing, but
please tell me how to be a better comic, Dan. Please.
No, I don't know. If I did, I'd tell you. Trust me. No, you have to be likable. I'm sure we've discussed this before. So this idea of being angry isn't likable.
Yeah.
And speaking of the room we were just talking about, a guy who's been in the business a very long time ago gave me a great compliment before the last lockdown. He said, they listen to you because they like you. Do you know what I mean? That's a great advantage that you go out there, you give them the smile. There's a couple comedians I feel can just walk out on stage and with their smile engage the audience. The audience knows it's going to be okay. Right?
Yeah.
I think little things like just taking it out of the cradle smoothly, getting rid of the mic stand really help. I'm sure we've discussed this before.
I'm lucky. I don't even. It's just from watching I'm doing editing some of my shows here. I noticed that I have a nervous habit of when I just I smile. I smile between things I say sometimes, even when I'm talking, I'll talk to you, but then I will say something, and then right after I'm finished saying it, kind of deadpan facey, then I smile at the end,
Right.
And I don't know I'm doing this in my head because I can't see myself, right?
Yeah.
But I watch it on the TV, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing that, and then I think, that maybe that's why they why they like forgive me on stage for saying bad things, like because I'm doing that smile at the end. I don't know.
There's you present a certain hokiness, if that's the right word, like the country aesthetic. Like you come out and you say, "I'm a hick," you know, your big city ways and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
and I think that instantly tells a narrative to the audience, right?
Yeah, that don't take me too seriously. I'm not.
Yeah. But then if you wanted to do something later where you're the smartest guy in the room, or you know,
that's so hard.
You're the player or whatever. It's not the same character, right? So
yeah.
But the only thing
I'm not that guy either. I'm not that guy.
I remember Matt Romot said to me, he said, "Look, they can. I'm sure I've said this to you before. They can steal your spots. They can steal your jokes. But they can't steal your personality.
They can't steal you. Yeah.
And I would never imitate it, but they can't steal it.
I would never want my stage persona to be reflecting like something that isn't a part of my real personality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't mind it being like a distorted view of it or an amplified version of it or whatever, but it's got to still be a part of the real person, really me. Like I wouldn't want to put a total character on stage. This is the guy that did Death for an entire month of November.
So you've been through it. Now you know.
Yeah, I don't.
That was good fun.
You got to try shit in life, but I had one show I did at the beer hall there, the Austin Beer Hall.
Yeah,
and the you know, I didn't do probably as bad as I felt I did, but there was a problem with the sound,
right?
So you couldn't hear yourself back, and you really couldn't even hear the laughter that well. You could hear all the banging that was in the room behind it, you know, but you couldn't. So it was tough to hear reaction and stuff, and it let on yourself, and then all the comics that night felt like they bombed.
Right.
You know, like, but like, it didn't seem that way when you're sitting there watching the other comics. It didn't seem like they were bombing, but to the comics, the comics all came off. Like I asked the one girl, shit, don't make me say people's names because
comedian.
Yeah, I don't even put me.
Can I get a haircut? Can I get a hairstyle? A color of hair?
Well, she's a Hamilton comedian. She's a mother. She's
Krista McNaughton.
No, she's a mother.
Jen Reeves.
It was Jen. And
Krista had a baby a while ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Anyways, so Jen Reeves.
I don't want to say a while ago. It's still a baby.
She went up before me, Jen Reeves.
Beautiful child.
Jen Reeves went up before me, and then she's so I texted her the next day. Said, "How bad did how did you feel after she left?"
Right.
She had a second gig, so she went up before me, and then she left, and then I went up, and then I felt like I fucking ate shit so bad, and then I was like, I watched Jen's set. She did good, like she's funny, and she told her jokes. I've heard her jokes before, and they're good jokes.
Yeah,
and she told them well, and the crowd seemed to enjoy them. From my perspective.
Right.
So I was like, so I wonder how she thought she did.
Yeah.
So I texted her, said, "Hey Jen, how'd you do? How'd you think you did?" And she goes, "I cried in the car after."
I'm not laughing at a woman crying here, folks, but that's the game. That's the game.
Yeah, I know it. Isn't that? That's a great answer to get back. I cried in the car after. It was I get it. Yeah, that's how I felt too. I think it was the mic.
Look, if it doesn't hurt a little bit, and as Doug Koenig once said, a good bombing never hurt anyone, but it should hurt a little bit in the first instance. That's great.
The hurting is the good part about it.
Yeah,
because that's what's going to make you not want to do it again, not want to have that again.
That's it.
And then makes you work hard.
That's it. That's why when I bomb, I slam my hand in a door. No, I'm joking.
What is your reaction after you have a terrible night on stage? What's your general way of getting over it?
I mean, every Friday show. I do find Friday shows really, really difficult. I always find I'm rushing out the door from a week of work, and you get there, you're amped up in the wrong way. You're agitated, not G'd up to be there.
Yeah.
I listen to it and try and figure out what went wrong. Like, okay, so example, like it was just in front of other comics, and it was at 1 PM in Toronto at this really little cool bar off of College called Taco, right?
Yeah.
Really cool place, great tacos, as you would imagine.
In the middle of the afternoon?
Yeah, 1 PM in the afternoon. Yeah, it's in Kensington Market. So the guy there, he organizes shows up and down Augusta. So there's one at the Film Cafe. It's a lovely, really cool part of Toronto, Kensington Market. Yeah. So what was the point of all that? So I went up and I did this bit that has been in my head for a while. And I did it at the Lion's Head before the last breakdown. And it got a laugh. It got before the last lockdown. And it got a laugh, right?
Yeah.
And I tried to add bits. I've been adding bits to it, and it's super long now. And people were not having any of it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's supposed to have a great callback. So a callback would be like there's a joke at the beginning that you call back to when you get to the end of the joke. And it was so long and drawn out and had gotten no reaction that by the time I got to the callback, people were like, what? That doesn't make sense. I don't know. What was that? Is that from the beginning?
Oh, yeah. I did that at that same night with those nurses. Thank God they were such a great crowd, because I did my callback at the end of my set. I closed with this callback, and I didn't tell the first joke.
All right.
So they were like, they didn't make any fucking sense at all. Like, you didn't tell the original joke.
Yeah.
So if you didn't tell the original joke, the callback's worthless. And then I just did it. And that Patrick really got a kick out of that.
Yeah. Coppolino, everyone. I have to listen to that episode, and I have been making a habit. I've gotten out of the habit of listening to podcasts, and obviously I listened to the one with Joe Botelho, and I listen to this one now because, I know the people, and I know Patrick has a billion stories.
Oh, my gosh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 6 months ago, Patrick Coppolino posted on Facebook, comedy's really weird. You never know who's going to blow up. I spent 2 weeks touring New Zealand with this guy, and it's a freaking picture of Trevor Noah from The Daily Show.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
He's like, I traveled there with him before anybody. Like, we didn't know who he was, right? So,
yeah.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? That can't be right, Yeah,
he just told a story where he hung out with Pete Davidson when he was like 16 or something.
Yeah.
And he hung out, like it just was endless. Dice and Chris Angel and
I saw the photo of that. I haven't listened
to
the
whole
episode.
The Norm Macdonald, Tom Green podcast. He was at one of those.
Yeah.
Like he just has all these like incredible like Forrest Gump like stories. And he was like we were gonna be like it was. We started the show early, and then we ended up going over 2 hours. It was like a Joe Rogan kind of long podcast. And I still could have done another 10, 15 hours. Like I could have just kept going because easy guy to talk to. But I never ever talked to him.
It's hard when at the club. So full disclosure, I work for Patrick as well.
Yeah.
Before I start making it sound like I brown nosing his ass, I definitely.
But you are, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. He said on the show though he likes you.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Why can't we get more clips of that up on the internet?
Yeah. I go well. That's one of the things he said about you. I was just going to go
to listen to it.
No, he said no. We were talking about you, and I said, "Oh yeah, you work with Dan." And he goes, "Yeah," and then he goes, "Yeah," and then he goes, "I like Dan." He said he liked Dan because usually they say you have to say I like Dan because you just said something shitty about him on my show.
Right,
you'll say like because I think
get me wrong, I like the guy.
Even that first clip of Joe trashing you.
Yeah.
I think if you listen to the whole show, you'll probably hear us after that clip say a few times that we love Dan Brennan. Like,
of course.
We're not going to do this with Dan Brennan if we don't love him. You don't put you're not going to like.
We only roast the ones we love.
Yeah, you're not going to shit on a real person that you don't care about. Like that's like ruining everything. That's ruining the scene.
That's a totally different vibe. That's a totally different vibe, and that's not what I'm going for. But.
Yeah, it's like if you watch your friends bomb, like we talked about this too. Like if you watch your friends bomb, and they've done well before, like they're not incapable of doing well.
Yeah.
Then you're like, that's funny. Like the crowd really fucked that guy over, But if you watch like a guy that bombs consistently every week, and he's making comedy worse, and he's making people think that if you go to a comedy show, it's gonna be bad and awful, like. those people, it's not funny to watch them bomb. It's like you want them, you're angry, like you want them to go away.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You need to see improvement.
Doesn't it suck when you watch like so many shitty shows being produced and you know that they can be done so much better if you just do simple little things, you know?
Yeah, it's frustrating. I have to learn to not care as much, or at least not wind myself up in the back of the room. It's like I'm watching a hockey game and I think I can coach the team better than the guy they're paying millions of dollars to, right? You know, sitting in the back of the room. I wouldn't have done that. Why is the host going long? This, that, the other thing. But
you're wise, Dan. That's true. That's the right thing to say.
Yeah,
because it's right. It's right. I just look at it. I'm like, fuck. If they just did that, it would be better. And then it ends up being like. Ends up making me crazy when I should just sit there and say, just tell your fucking dick jokes and get out of here, go home, right? But it's just the whole scene would do better if the shows were better. Like everyone would think comedy's a better thing, a better way to spend your entertainment time.
And I think there's a real opportunity to partner with some other organizations, be they breweries, venues, what have you. And this is the right time to be creating shows and the like. The only thing you can do is create your own shows, make sure they run well, right?
Yeah, that is it.
Yeah.
And
is that it? We're not going to talk about Joe anymore?
No.
Okay. We don't have to.
No. Wait.
What did you think of my response to his?
Oh.
Which to me, like going back to it, like I love Joe. I just wanted to say this because I feel like people in the Hamilton comedy scene thought I was like hugely mad at him for saying that, you know, calling me unfuckable. And like people were like, it was like I'd had a cancer diagnosis. People were like, I felt like people were tiptoeing around me, you know?
Yeah. It's funny, that some.
But all I wanted to do was not say anything until I got a chance to do it here, right? So
it's 50-50. Like you got mostly women who are don't like it when you're mean to people, right? And so they're going to stick up for the victim.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you after the first one, like after Joe's clip went out, everybody was solidly on Dan Brennan's side, like of that camp,
right?
Of that camp. They were like solidly Dan Brennan. Then when you did your response, those same people, they didn't know what to do. Because both people were now mean, so like we're like, how do we, you know?
There's no right side in this war.
Yeah. So then it's like we were.
Are you saying I alienated women?
No, I'm saying that the sensitive people would be like you'd be tied at that point because you both committed the same crime, right?
Right.
And then the people who like. Just like getting, like hearing people get shit on.
Yeah.
That's the other half. And they would have been like, like really happy. They would have been on Joe's side after the first one.
Yeah.
Because, who's this guy getting shit on? Just some guy getting shit on. Who's this loser, right? like you don't join the team of the guy getting shit on. You join you know.
Right. That's right.
So like, yeah. So like those people, like so then when you came back, then you probably would have won some of them back too, right? Like because you then did the same thing that they like, right? So it's really split, but. The internally, I can tell you what the cast of the Dutch Hall, if you will, what they thought of the whole conflict to date.
Conflict's a harsh word, I think.
Yeah. So they thought Joe's was because it was just us fucking around.
Yeah.
And it was just like off the cuff.
Yeah.
So they felt that his was like real. Like it was like a real thing where yours was prepared.
Yeah.
So then you run into the same problem of being like a stand-up guy compared to an improv guy or a crowd work guy versus a guy that's doing written joke, like really like worked out bits. The crowd work guy or the improv guy gets an easier laugh. You know what I mean? Because the crowd thinks he's being quick-witted.
Right.
Whereas if they know you're preparing something, then they have higher expectations and they want something of a higher quality, you know? Because like if I did in my stand-up, some of the jokes that these improv guys do on stage are getting big laughs, I get crickets.
Right.
Because they think I should have it even better if I'm going to be doing a worked out bit. If they think I'm conversational, if I disguise a joke as a conversation, then they think I'm coming up with it on the spot. Then they laugh more at my joke.
Yeah.
It's a shitty technique. I wish didn't exist. Doesn't it feel cheap when you do it though?
It is quite funny when people discover that you have to write stuff out and you have to work on and craft jokes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people are like, wow, you just go up there and do it. No. There's a whole thing there. So,
dude, I had friends come to see me in Cambridge, and it was awesome. They were my friends I went to England with, and afterwards we're partying at the one person's house, and the one lady's I'm showing them my kids. They're asking me about my kids.
Nice.
And the lady goes, like, oh boy, both your kids are so talented. One's in music, one's in art. You know, like. Where did they get all this like artistic talent from? I'm like, you just came from my show, you know? They're like, it must be your wife, you know, it must be Jane. I'm like, you just laughed at my show. You were telling me how funny you thought it was. My wife said that there's tears down your face. Like you thought it was good, right? My show, right? And then they're like, she goes, yeah, we loved it, but you were just doing what you do, is what she says.
Right. Well,
I'm like, you know how fucking hard it is to make it look like that? You know? Like,
you know how long it took me to be me on stage?
Yeah. I was a nervous like idiot for most of the years I did this.
That's right. But that's a great compliment.
It really is, though. It's a disguised compliment because they're like, you didn't really do anything. You were just being yourself. And I'm like,
right.
Man.
That's that. Once again, going back to personality, that's what you want to bring to the stage.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I think so. And it does. Another thing that my therapist taught me was he said, like, I told him some shitty stories of shit that bothered me, that bugs me, right? Like childhood trauma or something, you know, like stuff like that. And then he says you should write jokes about that because that's how you like that'll maybe help you deal with stuff. And so, like, what I did was, I really just did this thing. It's kind of stupid, but I took in my notebook and I just wrote, like, I was like, I had, like, whatever was bugging me, you know, like if, say my dad calling me the F word, you know?
Right.
And then let's say that bugs me, you know, I don't like to be called a homosexual slur by my, you know, I didn't like that by my dad or whatever. So I write 2 pages of not liking of what I didn't like about it, you know, how it made me feel and all this gross emotion stuff that men never say, you know, you just write it on a page. None of it's funny, none of it at all, just emotional stuff. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a little turn of phrase shows up in it, you know?
Yeah.
You're writing it not to be funny at all, just to get it out, you know?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden a turn of phrase will come up in there and it'll ignite something. And this one, it was like, and then I wrote, it's my favorite joke came out of it. And it's like when the joke kind of popped off the page, it was clean. It was word efficient. It was everything. It was at the
on the bone.
At the very end of 2 pages of fucking garbage, you know?
Right.
And you've seen me work out jokes on stage.
Yeah,
sometimes that garbage is coming out of my mouth on stage to audiences that don't know what the fuck's going on.
I believe the term is to the audience's chagrin.
Yeah, they do not enjoy it.
But you need the opportunity. Better. You need the opportunity here, like going back to putting on shitty shows and not running them correctly. I think one of the big things you have to do is get up and say, like, if it's an open mic and Pete Van Dyk's going to be bringing his new joke that he doesn't know if it works or how he probably doesn't even know what sentences go in what order, right?
Yeah.
You have to tell the audience that, you know what I mean? Like, say, hey, guys, it's Tuesday night, you know, nobody paid to be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're just going to be here working on our jokes. And I think audiences appreciate that in a way. They feel like they're seeing behind the curtain, you know?
Yeah, I think you're right, and it's the same thing when you
adopt a comic, ladies and gentlemen. That's the program we need.
It's the same thing when you bomb, like do the Johnny Carson thing. When you do a joke that misses and you acknowledge that it wasn't good, like that got what it deserved, or like you say an offhanded comment like, "Yeah, I would boo it too," like something. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, you have a sense of humor about it not being funny or not working, then the crowd laughs at that and they've forgot the bomb joke, and you've taken a miss and you've like made it okay, You know what I mean?
Reset the room. I hate getting those laughs, but you have to get them. Do you know what I mean? Like acknowledging that it's going shit.
Yeah, but
that's not the place you want to be at.
If you do it where you're with a sense of humor, it can work. Yeah. But if you do it where you're falling apart up there, where like, oh my God, why do I do this? I don't, I suck as a human, I've seen those too. One time at Poachers in London, I watched the whole night. It was just one after another, these young comedians going up, bombing, and then like beating themselves up on the microphone still. Yeah. Telling
anything that's repetitive is going to take away from a show too. Like,
repetitive bombing?
No, but like, hey, give it up for your host. Next comedian. Hey, give it up for your host. Next comedian. Yeah. Like, how much do we have to give up for this guy? What?
Yeah. I stopped saying that.
Just give him a kidney and stop clapping,
You're going to love your headliner?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's another one. I think sometimes people say those things on purpose because they know it bugs people.
I decided, and I don't do it every time because I'm stupid, but I decided very early on that I want to end my sets by saying, thank you, that was fun. Right? Or something.
What if it wasn't fun?
Yeah, good point. I think that's why.
I'll give you one day, and I wrote one for you.
Did you? Go on.
Yeah, I just wrote it. I just wrote it right now. That's how quick I am. This is what you say. If it goes well, you can do that. You go like, thank you, I've had fun. Yeah. But if it doesn't go well, you just go, thank you, you've been people.
You've been people.
How about that?
You know what else I wanted to say? No, I'm going to gloss over that right away.
Right? No?
I remember Jason Allen used to give the audience a at the end.
Okay, sorry. The child booed that one. Sorry, Jason Allen did what?
He used to give the audience a report card at the end. I've been Jason Allen, you've been average. Yeah. We used to play in some bad rooms, though,
Yeah, it is fun. Sometimes the crowds are not good. One time I saw this crowd. Where was it? I was just at a show. They're all smilers. And you're looking around saying, everyone's so smiley, but no one's laughing. Right. Oh, that was last Wednesday. The snowstorm one at Levity.
Yeah, right.
And they're smiling. It was the first, 2 or 3 comics were eating shit. But everyone was smiling. So they weren't, not having a good time. They just weren't laughing yet. And then I realized that then they had to get me up there. And then, I changed it all around. Yeah. You know what's worked for me? I have a punchline that it doesn't matter what the setup is. The punchline gets huge laughs every time. And and I did it in the room yesterday. I didn't even tell the setup. Just did the punchline to the guys in the room, and they all laughed. I go, see, you don't even need to tell the whole joke.
That's gold. Are you going to share it, or?
You want me to tell you the punchline?
Yeah.
You'd swear I was throwing 2 handfuls of glitter and shooting cocks out of my ass? Hey, that's the punchline, and I love saying it. And people,
say it again.
You'd swear I was throwing 2 handfuls of glitter and shooting cocks out of my ass. I like to put a little stink in it when I'm on stage. It wouldn't. It wouldn't.
I do feel you've got to stick the ass out when you land that line.
Throwing cocks out of my ass.
An all-purpose. That's wonderful. I want an all-purpose punchline. My repertoire.
Yeah, you just have one that's fun to say. That's another thing that's fun. That you should try. Is just say think of a fucking great punchline. Yeah. This is a fun thing to say, and then write the joke from that. Write it backwards. Yeah. Just figure how am I going to get to that? How do I get to shooting cocks out of my ass?
Just back to the universal punchline. There's a comedian from England, Eddie Izzard. You may have heard of him on these shores.
Yeah, I've heard of Eddie Izzard. He is he's a good comedian.
He absolutely is. And I can't remember where he said this. He said, but because he can ramble, right? That's how he builds his set. It's a rambling narrative, right?
Yeah.
And he said, no matter how lost he got or how bored the audiences was, he could always end it and get a laugh with saying, and then I shot him. So there you go. So did you find yourself in trouble? Just threatened to shoot someone.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I shot him?
Yeah. I'm not writing enough at the moment. I'm really annoyed with myself.
Hey, dude.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you one quick thing, okay? I don't want to tell you tales out of school here.
Okay.
But, we did bring up Joe Botelho briefly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I do want to tell you that I don't want to tell you tales out of school here, but the other day Joe went to a doctor's office.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He went to see a doctor because he wasn't getting erections with his wife.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So the doctor says, come back the next day, bring your wife.
Right.
Right. So Joe goes back to the doctor's office, and he brings his wife in. The doctor tells his wife to take off her clothes so he can examine her. Right? The wife complies. Doctor gives her an examination.
Right there in front of Joe, eh?
Right there in front of Joe.
Sorry, carry on.
Turns to Joe and he says, Joe, you're healthy as a horse. She didn't give me an erection either. What?
It's a bit harsh.
You think that's harsh? Joe said our roast tonight was going to be lame, is what he said. He said, and I said, I didn't even say we were going to roast him. I didn't say that. I said we were going to pick it up. And I felt bad, actually.
That's funny, because he was in a roast battle at Showtime in St. Catharines, and people were messaging me going, you got any jokes? You got any jokes? So I wrote a whole bunch in like half an hour. I wish I had them with me now. I'm not going to say they were great roast jokes, but a couple of them were all right. Like one.
I don't want to tell you, say anything negative about Joe's wife. I don't want to get anything mixed up there in that last joke,
Yeah.
But last time Joe kissed her on the lips.
Oh, no.
It was only by mistake. He was trying to eat her ass. But he got confused. Wait, that's terrible.
That's Ed Zachary disease.
That's terrible. What?
That's Ed Zachary disease.
What does that mean?
That's when your face looks Ed Zachary like your ass.
No, that's mean.
We like the old jokes. We like the old jokes, don't we?
Yeah. Wait, I wanted to say something about Joe.
No.
Right?
Why are you getting stuck into him?
Wait, I don't know.
You want to be in the center of this.
I'm just mixing it up. I want to keep it going.
I'm happy because, like I said, Joe Botelho was not worth the drive to Simcoe. I really like that beat of sweat joke that I did. I thought that was
it made me laugh.
Writing.
It made me laugh.
I thought that was next level writing for a guy like me.
You know what the thing about Joe? He's got a mind like a steel trap.
He does, eh?
Yeah, always closed. Right?
Yeah.
Was that good?
I know the type. Yeah.
He's got bubbles in his think tank.
It's true. It's a shame he's not around.
Yeah. You know what? Some people drink at the fountain of knowledge.
Yeah.
Joe only gargles. Yeah. Right? He thinks we're fucking lame. He thinks I'm a lame roaster. That's what he said when I texted him earlier.
Lame roaster.
I'm a lame roaster. I got 7 messages. I bet you one of them is from him.
I bet you, because it's not like he's booked anywhere.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I'm recycling jokes at this point.
Yeah. You know what? Me and Moses went before. Because
he's been down since with Michael, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely Michael.
And Michael was, we were starting the show and we were talking a bit about the conflict or whatever. And the show wasn't on yet. And then, we were like, yeah, of all the things Dan could have made funny about, what's weird, the subject matters he chose. That's what we said. And then we started rhyming off the things that we would have made fun of Joe about. And then Joe kept trying to go on with his story, but every time he did, we would list 3 more, interrupt him to say 3 more things
Show
about
me
him.
little fingers.
Yeah. Yeah, we just throw those things in. Oh, man, we kept that going forever. It was so fun. It was the most fun. He eventually had to stop. I saw Joe stop talking and just kind of had to sit back and just keep taking it while we
my goodness.
We're beating up on him. Yeah, I've never seen it in my life. Never seen it in my life.
Defeated.
I think he was defeated. Yeah. I wish so badly it was recorded, but, it was a missed opportunity. But,
hey, Can we? I can't be the first person to make this observation. Can we get Dave in a Lanny McDonald lookalike contest?
Oh man, yeah, and I think he's
finished top 3 for sure.
His current duster too. I went to see the real life one, the real life Dave.
Yeah,
and his real mustache now is also unruly like this, like Robot Dave's.
Really?
Yeah. Cool. I don't want to say anything bad about my good friend Joe.
No.
No. But I'll tell you, if brains were lard, he'd have trouble greasing a small pan. What? You like that one?
I do like that one. The thing is, like,
you think lard's a good one? Good reference?
The thing about Joe is,
if you ask him for a penny for his thoughts, he'd probably give you change.
Yeah, but yeah.
What?
Look, all I'm saying is when they bury Joe, they're going to put him 12 feet down because deep down he's a nice guy.
Oh, you mean you got to bury him deep because then you wouldn't smell as a rotting corpse?
Pretty much, yeah.
From the depths. That's why you bury him 6 feet, eh? So the animals can't smell him.
The animals, they're worried. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, because if you buried everyone in a cemetery at 4 foot,
Yeah.
Fucking coyotes be digging them up and eating your grandma.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
I don't know how they're going to open the casket, though.
6 foot.
Those crafty fuckers will figure it out, though. Coyotes are no dummies. I'll tell you that.
Well, it's not like that. I don't know. They put locks on caskets?
Well, you got to open the lid, man. They have no opposable thumbs. How are you going to open a lid even if it's unlocked?
If you tip it over, though.
Oh, the old person will just fall right out, and then you can eat them.
Yeah. That's a lot of digging, though.
Yeah. Hey, do you know you have to embalm a person before you cremate them?
Why?
I know. I don't understand. Just burn them right away. I would like I don't understand any of that shit.
Put the best suit on them and burn them.
Yeah, why you got to put a suit on them to burn them too?
Yeah.
Are they just going to throw me in a manure spreader?
Well,
like like they don't.
We have some strange rituals when it comes to
dead people, right?
The dead people, the way we mourn. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah, dude. I'll tell you for real. The last few visitations I've gone to, and where I've had to look at the corpse, it's gotten progressively weirder. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like when I was younger and I started going to funerals, like when I just started up my habit of going to funerals. I think I was 16 when I went to my first funeral, which I think is a pretty good run to not have any deaths in your life, right? 16 years.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And then, but like that was like a big deal. Like, I felt terrible going to it. It was like really shocking, but it was normal to see the dead body because that was just the only way I'd ever gone through the grieving process was you go saw the dead body and that's how you came to terms with it or whatever. But then now it's more common that you'll go and you'll just see the urn or some pictures or,
right.
You won't actually see the corpse, And then when you do see
a disconnect there.
When you do see a corpse now, it's like, oh, that's weird. Why the fuck do we do this? It's Grandpa never wore makeup in real life. Why is he wearing it now?
Yeah. Quite frankly, if he knew.
Yeah, he'd be pissed off. Yeah. I mean, I remember you
bastards, you got me in death.
Yeah, he's been calling Paul Newman a homo ever since he saw him in a makeup chair,
Paul Newman. Is that a Paul Newman film?
Yeah,
Get that off the TV. Get that off the TV.
If he was straight, he wouldn't.
He's wearing makeup in that.
Yeah, I seen it on TV. He was sitting.
It's okay, Grandpa. They all
put on
makeup.
blush.
I know. Yeah. That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah, now that is kind of funny though when you think of it. Like all these old men who are like homophobic and stuff, and at the end they're like wearing all this makeup.
That's it. That's it.
All their buddies got to come around and see them in fucking eyeshadow.
It really brings out.
It's a weird habit. Yeah, it's a weird thing that we do, but.
I think. Well, obviously we have access to a technology these days, but yeah, I think probably The rituals are interesting. The way we mourn, like the Jewish people sit Shiva, where they would sit for a week and mourn a loved one, right?
Or they just sit there? Or they get together?
They get together under one roof, I think is the idea, right? So,
well, that's kind of what we do too. And not that we call it a Shiva or anything, but when there's a death in the family, like, there's about a full week of just hanging out.
I haven't been to a funeral in 10 years. My Uncle Peter died 10 or 11 years ago. He used to have the coolest house in Stony Creek. It was a bungalow along the side of the mountain with a pool. He's married to my mom's sister, and they had 2 kids, my cousins, but it was as close to looking like a Miami drug dealer's place as any place I've ever been in. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was a bungalow against the backdrop of the mountain with a pool. You ever seen the movie Sexy Beast?
Yeah. BoJack Horseman's house. No,
I've not seen BoJack, but that kind of idea up in the hills or whatever.
Yeah, like
right?
in the.
Yeah. And my Uncle Peter always took care of me on Christmas, because the only sport worth watching on Christmas Day is the NBA. And I was a huge Michael Jordan fan, right? Like I tried not to miss a game back then. And he'd be like, "Leave the boy alone. Let him watch his TV." Like the whole family's in the other room. I'm watching Michael Jordan. "Leave the boy alone. Let him watch his TV." Or the wrestling. He always had a black box to get the wrestling.
Yeah. I know that stuff is cool, man.
Yeah.
We had a big dish.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when you die? Are you getting put in the ground? Are you gonna get turned into ashes, ash to ash, dust to funky? We know.
When I was younger, like when I was, if you would ask me probably 5 years ago, I would have had a different answer.
Yeah,
because my kids were still like younger,
right?
And I wouldn't want, if I passed away when my kids were like still needed to be raised, and my wife, I was to pass away, and my wife, I was to like remarry or something and have another guy step in to like do the raising of my kids.
Yeah.
Then I would want to have my body taxidermied with my eyes open and put on the couch or in the bedroom.
Right.
So my wife, so I'd be watching and making them feel uncomfortable.
Right.
So
but no one could access your estate if that.
My kids are older now, so I don't feel that's necessary. I feel my wife can move on, find love.
Oh, that's
after my passing, and I would just assume that I'd be like just flushed or something.
Just flushed down a toilet.
Yeah,
that's great. Liquefied.
You just shove me down with a stick. Just keep doing it. I don't know. I could give a shit. To be honest with you, when I see a dead body, when I see an actual dead body,
anybody want to see a dead body?
I get angry at it. I don't like it. I find it to be garbage. It's like
that's interesting. You have a natural instinct to.
I don't like the dead body. It's like, this is not the person. It's a poor representation of the person. I don't enjoy looking at it.
Right.
This is, if you're gonna if this is if this is the best you can show me of my friend or loved one, then I'd rather not see it. That's what I say.
Yeah, so in university, I had a roommate pass away, and it was in a car accident. So, I didn't. You know how you go up at the visitation, you see the family, like the immediate family, and then you see the body, and there'll be other family to see on the way out. I beelined. I didn't go up to the casket. Like, I saw the body from a distance.
Yeah,
and it didn't look like my friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At all. From my perspective. So I beeline, but I do regret not just taking that moment to say goodbye. That bugs me.
Well,
whether it looks like him or not, I don't know. Like that's kind of.
But the person's already not there. That's my point. The person's already gone.
They're gone.
And then
you believe in the soul, do you?
I believe in the soul. Yeah, I believe that in the soul. So then I can just go like this and say goodbye to my friend. Like, the soul's part of everything now.
Right.
So it's not to me. That's where I'm at. That body's just the vessel, the garbage that's left behind.
Well, see, yeah, that's why I like the idea of like the continuum. Have you seen these? You can get buried in like these bags that turn
Yeah.
into trees, right?
That's a good one. I do that.
I'd love that. that. Yeah, I don't want to be. That's the reason I don't want to be turned to ash. I want to like.
Well, how do you?
Nutrients, but let's be honest.
Are you
with each other.
dead? You're ash though in the tree root, aren't you? Like when they put you in the tree, aren't you just ashes in the tree root, or are your body decomposed in the tree root?
That's the way I read it.
You actually are in a decomposing sack or something.
Yeah, you're in there with
your body.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I've got that wrong. Maybe one of our listeners. You've got messages there. Are they worth reading or?
Oh, wait. No.
Can I tell a story? Actually, Pete, can I tell your audience a story?
Yeah, do it.
So I was over at my boss's house. We're settling into the living room. We're having a Zoom meeting with one of our suppliers from the UK, right?
Right.
This is about 9:30 in the morning. And I look out on the porch, and there's a 3-year-old child on the front porch. This is January, 15th, 16th. And I'm like, what the hell? So we get up, we go out. There is no grown-ups on the street anywhere. There's a park behind the house. I run to the park. Nothing, right? The child walks right into the house. This is how old and cynical I am. I'm like, don't let the child in the house. It's a scam. Like someone's going to show up and go, hey, did you kidnap my kid? Yeah, $400 and this is quiet. But anyway,
yeah.
So this was going on for 15 minutes and my heart's racing, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking to the child, right? And I keep saying, oh, where's your mommy? Where's your mommy? She's like, Mommy's sleeping. Mommy's sleeping. I'm like, oh, God, is that an overdose, And I say, well, we have to go home. Where's your home? Is it one of these homes, your homes, pointing on the street? And she's like, no, go home, And she's over playing the piano and everything. So we phoned the police, right? And the policeman came. And this is like a really interesting wrinkle in the story. But my boss's dogs are old and incontinent. And the dog, one of them, took a shit right in front of the officer's shoe, like a proper punk rock dog in the kitchen, right? And you know what? But God loved this police officer, okay? He did not flinch. You know what I mean? Like my boss is she's down cleaning it up right away and all laughing and embarrassed. He's just like, yeah, let's keep going, right?
Yeah.
But I got to walk it back a second because I met him in the driveway, the cop, when he arrived. Okay?
Yeah.
The first words out of his mouth are, this happens more often than you'd think.
The kid just escapes their house?
Yeah. So the first question they asked is are there any, daycares around here being run out of a house or whatever? Like that seems to be the source of missing kids, right? So there's 2 police cars on the street. Eventually,
what time of the day is this again?
This is 9:30 in the morning. So eventually a boyfriend or something like that comes driving by, sees the 2 cars and says, hey, have you seen a kid? And we reunite the kid with the mother. And everything ends well, but for 15 minutes, it was the worst thing I've ever been involved in. Do you know what I mean?
Because you're so worried for the kid?
Oh, man. The child was wet. And, in the end, what, according to the mother, had happened was that she was settling 2 other children into the e-learning, right? The online learning, right? And the young child that wasn't in learning yet. She thought she was hiding, so she wasn't hiding. She'd put her coat and her boots on and gone outside and gone for a walk around. So, yeah, crazy situation.
That is nutty, man. Yeah, it doesn't happen. It never happened when I was growing up because you'd have to walk pretty far, through a cornfield,
You can't be a children of the corn. That doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that happened though one time. I think my brother and sister went for a walk in the rye field. My parents gave them royal shit, because it would be hard to find a kid in a rye field.
Yeah.
If you had to try to find them, because you'd be searching forever. Yeah.
Crazy. Just a crazy thing that happened.
This was how long ago?
It's January. Just halfway through January.
Did you think about keeping that kid?
Not at all. No.
You didn't like it?
No, I like the kid fair enough. Yeah, it was.
I was kidding. Is this just an elaborate?
Whoa, free kid!
Is this like an elaborate story that you want on the record to explain why you had a child in your presence?
Should I get a copy of this episode?
I know it's against my restraining order, but I have a perfect story for it. Look, this is a Dutch Hall.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have said that out of nowhere. But now I said this on the show, so your fucking thing's ruined.
Yeah.
You're going to jail, Dan.
We can edit this part out, okay?
I don't want to edit it out. I want you to face justice for your crimes. Those are terrible
Dude,
crimes.
I came down to a podcast and now I'm accused of a crime I didn't commit.
Well,
Yes,
yeah.
anybody who hurts a child, that's a horrendous crime for sure. But that's not me. I don't have that in my heart, Pete. I'm not.
No, you don't. You're not a
If there's
pedophile.
any other subject, I'd be able to laugh with you.
You look
but I'm
like
just
one.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't say that. Don't
You know what I
say
think is
that as a
funny?
joke.
You know what I think is funny, and I hope it happens. Is and maybe we'll just end with this. Comedian Doug Koning
Love him.
has said that he wants to write a movie or a short film or something that stars both you and I.
Really?
Yeah, the whole purpose
This is where it gets good.
of the movie is to have you and I in the movie.
Really?
Yeah, which is where I play your son. he wants me to play your son. And
I knew it was coming. We could do it too, Pete.
I think it would be fun to do. Just
That would be good. That would be good. I'm growing into my age. My look, my body's growing into my age.
I really hope he fucking does it, Dan? Like, 'cause I just hope he does it.
Do you know what? He's not the first. That's not the first person. I'm sure from Doug's point of view, it's a good joke. But I know Doug. I'll say this about Doug. I have a feeling he writes a lot more than most people. Like he'd be a guy you could sit down in a writer's room and chew things out with.
He'd be on my short list.
We
He'd be
actually
on my-
wrote a joke together on the weekend. I was talking about we were talking about new material coming out, and I was like, well, you know, I'm trying to do stuff about having joined a boxing gym because I joined a boxing gym in December, right? And then we bantied some ideas around, and I told it last night, and I got a good hearty chuckle. I'll tell it to you now. I started at the boxing gym. The first day my trainer said to me, you might be the next Muhammad Ali. And I said, really? You think I could be the champion of the world? And he said, stop shaking.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Brennan. You can see him at comedy clubs all over southwestern Ontario.
Yeah.
How they follow you on the socials, Dan?
They go, if they want to go to the IG, the
Yeah.
gram, they would go to @ComedyThingsDanBrennan. Dan Brennan. I'm very active on there. And then on Twitter, it's @Dan Brennan Live. So @Dan, and then Brennan is BRENNAN, and then the word live.
Dan Brennan Live. And you know what you can do with us. You can go to Dutch Hall, live from the Dutch Hall.
Yep.
You can give us an email at livefromthedutchhall@gmail.com or thedutchhall@gmail.com. And you can go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Dutch Hall. And if you become a Patreon subscriber, like our one and only Queen, Jen Husko, you'll get access to the forbidden video. And that forbidden video is only available to our Patreon subscribers until Dave figures out we're putting it on there and makes us take it down again. And so get it while it's hot, and you will actually become Dutch Hall royalty. And until next week, we will see you, NT. See you next Thursday. Thanks for coming in, Dan.
Hey, thanks for having me, Pete. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, and I'm going to be at no one's watching live anyway, so who cares? They're going to hear this next time. But we're Sudbury, March 4th.
Sudbury, March 4th. Give me that.
Doing it, so I do it in my head all the time.
Nemesis is what you need. That's what you're
Yeah, like a person that's pushes you. That's good.